Caitlin. Hi. I think we've established that. This is supposed to be a Q&A, so you guys do the Q and I'll do the A. Sound good? But without you, I can't do anything. So. Yeah, I don't mind answering this question again with a new audience, so it's fine. My favorite show to work on is definitely Ouran High School Host Club. Good, I'm glad you've seen it. It would be horrible if you're, what's that? Never heard of it. I loved it, and I loved that show since before I was in it. So getting to be a part of it, especially getting to direct it and getting to play Haruhi was like a dream come true. I can't really think of anything else that could top being in that show, except maybe like being in Sailor Moon or something. So it was wonderful, and I loved every grueling, horrible minute of it. It was tough when you really love something to then take the helm and make sure that it's the best it can be for the English-speaking audience. So it was a lot of pressure, but I loved it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And when I think back to that time, I get really nostalgic. It was lovely. So definitely Ouran. You're welcome. Scary. No, only scary because they're Capcom, right? I had only done a few video games prior to Street Fighter, and with those, they'd all been games that had come out in Japan first, and then came out in the States and here second, but there was little involvement with the Japanese. If they were involved, they weren't talking to me, they were talking to the producers, and it was maybe on a daily basis before we would record. But when we did Street Fighter 4, it was so high profile because it had been 10 years since the Street Fighter game came out. And if I remember correctly, although we had the files of all the Japanese acting, the games came out at the same time. So there was a lot riding on our performance being just as good as the Japanese. So we were on Skype with Japan for every single line that I did. It was kind of crazy. But they seemed to really like it, so I guess then it was a positive thing. But the process was really slow. Video games don't normally go that slowly when you record them, but this was like record, wait, listen to the Japanese, what they have to say, take their notes, do it again. But apparently they dug it, and I've heard from, I guess, some Capcom people that the Japanese, normally they listen to things in Japanese, but you can go through and choose characters and what language you want to hear, individual characters, and they put Cammy in English. I'm like, well, that's good, because, she speaks English, so that's nice. As an actor, we don't record with other actors. We record individually. So it's not like being in a play or a film. It's kind of a drag. Sometimes you go in and no one else has recorded yet, so you're just acting in a box by yourself. But I'd say, so really my experience of working with people comes from being a director and directing other actors. And some of my favorites are definitely Chris Sabat, who's too much fun. Who else? Lucy Christian. Have you guys heard of Lucy before? She's in everything. Who likes One Piece? Yeah, she's Nami, okay, among a gajillion other things, but she's like my voice acting hero. Really, I remember when I was still very new to voice acting, I'd made a poster, like a collage in my room, of like goals that I had in my life, random magazine pictures and things like that to sort of inspire me. And there's a big picture of Sailor Moon on it, and also a picture of Lucy. Before I even knew her or had met her, I just found her picture on the internet. So I count it an honor to know her and work with her. And she's also a really beautiful person. So she has a great spirit and a great heart, and I love working with her. But honestly, the job is a dream job, and I can think of very few people that I don't like to work with, and if I don't like to work with them, don't continue hiring them. So that's kind of how it works in this business. But. Remember, because unlike the theater or film, we don't take scripts home, we don't memorize lines. we only say them 1 or 2 times, and then they go away forever. I mean, they're on the DVD, so I suppose I could watch it and then memorize it after the fact, but this is so random. This line is so random, but it's one that I always think of. Have you seen Negima? You know Negima? Okay, I play a few characters. I play this robot, Chachamaru, who's British, and her little counterpart, who's like a little Cockney baby robot, and I play Chisame. And Chisame, if you don't know the show, she's like really cynical and hates everyone, but at home she's an internet idol. Like she goes and puts on cosplay costumes and takes pictures, and everyone on the internet loves her, but she's a total jerk. So in her first episode, she's on the train having this monologue in her head about how her life is stupid and she hates her class and her teacher's a moron. And as she is talking about all these things, images come up on the screen of the teacher, or this group of students and that group of students. And then the last one to come up is Chachamaru, and she screams, "And what's with the robot?" And it's a stupid line, but I just really like it because I'm also the robot. So that's always been one of my favorites, though it really doesn't mean a whole lot out of context. When you're creating a voice and when you're practicing a voice?
Yeah.
Let's see. The thing about anime voice acting, especially for ladies, for young women, is that we don't have to be cartoony very often. It's not The Simpsons, it's not any like little child's program with crazy, wacky voices. They do wacky, crazy things on occasion, big, goofy mouths and pratfalls and stuff like that. But they're really normal kids, normal people and women and stuff. So the shows themselves and the content can be so out there that to me it's really important, especially when I'm directing, that the voice sounds like something that's real. Because it's already so far-fetched. And if the voice doesn't sound like a real person, why believe any of this crazy flying through space, blue hair, giant boobs, etc., right? There has to be something based in reality there. Now, there are times where you get a very strange character that does require a weird voice. But, so, people always ask me, like, folks that I meet when they find out that I'm a voice actor, maybe they're not into anime, they're like, "Oh, do a voice, do a voice." Like, I'm using it right now to talk to you. It's kind of the same voice. It's really just the circumstances of the character that create them, and the way they look and what their face is doing that might cause me to change it. So it's mostly, they're younger, so I may have to push it up a little higher, or if they're really intense and the strong kick-butt characters, then push it a little lower. That's the most that I do, is up and down. Sometimes you do crazy things and the director will kind of tell you what they need, like put more breath behind it, make it scratchier, stuff like that. It's probably not helping you a lot, but otherwise, things that I know to do at home to maybe solidify a voice. If we worked really hard in the booth to come up with something, and I've never done it before, and I need to work on it when I'm at home, the best thing is just to find something to read and practice reading out loud. The newspaper, a novel. What's that? Yeah, because that makes sense. No. Really, anything. Just practice reading out loud, anything. Because, as I mentioned before, when you're in the booth, you're seeing the script for the first time. So you have to be able to take this voice that you've created, or the voice that you're using, and know how to look at a sentence and decide that fast. What are the important words? Where do I pause? What do I emphasize? That kind of thing. So just reading material that you've never seen before on your own helps. Good question. Well, I worked for Mike McFarland. He directed Full Metal Alchemist, and because of him I got to do Auron, and because of him I got to work on directing Brotherhood as well. And he definitely inspires me. Kind of taught me how to do the directing job the best way that I could. And I continue to, I love working with him, but now he primarily does One Piece, and because I played Vivi, she's not really around anymore. So I don't get to work with him because all he does is One Piece. That makes me sad. Other directors that I really love, Chris Bevins cast me in my first really big show, and any time that I get to work with him is quite nostalgic. And he's a big, well, we're all nerdy people, but he's like a huge pop culture, comic books nerd, so we have fun kind of goofing off, even though we're supposed to be working. Who else? I love Colleen Klinkenbeard. Working with her is wonderful. She also directed Full Metal Alchemist with Mike, like back and forth, and she played Riza Hawkeye and Rose. And directing her is like a dream, and sometimes she's a phenomenal actress. So I often get intimidated even when I have to direct her and tell her what to do. Because I'm like, her instincts are so good, I really don't need to tell her to do anything at all. But I could go on and on. Monica Rial is wonderful. Todd Haberkorn's great. Vic Mignogna's great. They're all great, and they're all my friends too. So I get happy just thinking about them. I don't get to see them very much, so they all have moved away. Vic and Todd are off in Los Angeles now, and yeah. I started because I was already acting. That's the main thing. Like, I was already acting. Most voice actors are actors, like the majority of. They are doing stage, or they're doing film or commercial or TV or something like that. They're already acting. There are the occasional ones that end up at the studio because they know someone, but somewhere in their life you'll find out they have acted before. You know, they did high school theater or something like that. So maybe now they work in a bank. Who knows? I got in at Funimation because I knew someone who worked there, who took me on a tour, and on the tour I met a director who gave me a job pretty much on the spot. That's not how it always happens, but that line that they say about this industry, that it's who you know, is certainly true. Absolutely true. But otherwise, the way to go about it, now I don't know, there isn't really anime dubbing out here. It's all done in the States, to my knowledge. But other voice acting, like for commercials and radio and TV and commercials and stuff like that, basically you need an agent, a talent agent, and they get you the auditions, and the audition gets you the work. As far as how to get the agent, I don't know, because it's different here than it is back home. I don't even know that I could come here and get an agent. They might look at me and go, who are you? Why do we care? So, acting experience is where it starts. So if you've never acted before, just go do it anywhere you can, anywhere at all. Any sort of community theater, or take a class at your university if you're still in university. Just start getting experience and learning the language of acting, what kind of things a director might tell you to do. So.